How do engineers use BHP and WHP to analyze automotive engine performance? Imagine trying to figure out how powerful an engine really is. You might think about how much energy it produces and how much of that energy actually gets the car moving. That's where brake horsepower and wheel horsepower come into play. Engineers use these two measurements to understand how well an engine performs and how efficiently power moves through the vehicle. Brake horsepower is measured at the engine's crankshaft or flywheel. It shows the raw power the engine produces before any losses happen. To get this number, engineers use a device called a dynamometer, which applies a braking force to the engine and measures how much power it produces. This measurement ignores losses from parts like the transmission, differential, or wheels. It gives a clear picture of the engine's potential in a perfect world. Wheel horsepower is measured at the wheels of the vehicle. It shows how much power actually makes it to the ground to move the car forward. Because some power is lost along the way, wheel horsepower is always lower than brake horsepower. Usually, it's lower by about 13 to 25%, but this varies depending on the vehicle and its drivetrain. For example, a car with a very efficient transmission might lose less power, while a sports car with a less efficient setup might lose more. Engineers compare brake horsepower and wheel horsepower to see where power is lost. If brake horsepower is high but wheel horsepower is much lower, it means there are losses in the drivetrain. By analyzing these numbers, engineers can find ways to improve components like the transmission, differential, or tires. They want to make sure as much power as possible reaches the wheels for better acceleration and top speed. In real-world testing, factors like vehicle weight, whether it's front-wheel or rear-wheel drive, and environmental conditions like humidity or altitude all influence wheel horsepower. Engineers consider these factors when analyzing performance data to get an accurate picture of how the vehicle will perform in different situations. In short, brake horsepower helps engineers understand the engine's true power output at the source. Wheel horsepower shows how much of that power actually gets to the wheels. Comparing these two helps identify where energy is lost and guides improvements to make vehicles faster and more efficient. This process is essential in automotive engineering for designing better engines and drivetrains that deliver real-world performance.